A little taste test. What's amazing about food is that even though we do it 3 times a day, every day for our entire life, most people have no idea why they choose the foods they choose or why they eat what they eat. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate it?
Compared to other cookies?
Yeah.
1.
My name is Brian Wansink. I'm professor and director of the Cornell University Food and Brand Lab and author of the book Mindless Eating: Why We Eat More Than We Think.
A marketing expert and prize-winning nutritionist, Brian Wansink has been called the Sherlock Holmes of food. Dedicated to the study of why we eat what we do, he has proven that what we enjoy is as much about the plate as what we find on it. Dinner at his house is frequently an experiment in itself, since Wansink isn't beyond pulling a few tricks, all in the name of research.
We're having 3 friends over tonight for dinner, and I'm fortunate because my wife is a Le Cordon Bleu trained chef. Hello! Come on in, my dear!
It smells good in here.
So for starters, we're gonna have baby field greens, a sweet ripened pear, and goat cheese.
How come the cheese has only 2 names instead of 3? Like, you know,
Tuscan goat
Tuscan,
cheese.
yeah.
When I got the invitation, I figured that there's going to be something about trying to show that we're mindless eaters like everybody else, which is perfectly fine with me.
Then for the cuisine, juicy garlic roasted chicken.
There it is.
With crisp green bean bundle and potato canal.
Thank you very much. That's beautiful.
So go ahead and begin here.
Something up with the salad we don't know about.
I'm not convinced.
My reputation as a food spy precedes me. Trompe l'oeil has a huge impact on what we taste. But it's not just our eyes. It's all of our senses that bias our taste. I'm gonna ask you to try some chocolate cake here. The Cornell Food and Brand Lab is a series of rooms that we can observe what people eat, how they eat, when we make small changes like changing the lighting or changing the temperature in the room. By doing this, we better understand the psychology behind food behavior. How would you describe the taste?
Better than I thought.
Do you think it would have tasted as good if you given it to you on a paper plate like that?
I may question it. This is a pretty nice display.
We did a study a while back, and if you ask French people how they know they're through eating a meal, they say, I know I'm through eating a meal when I feel full or when the food no longer tastes good. We asked the same questions of 150 Chicagoans, and they said, I know I'm through eating a meal when everybody else is done or my plate's empty. Expectations determine what we think of food, almost more than what the absolute taste does.
Oh, thank you.
That's yours. Vegetarian.
Very tall off the plate. That's all we're getting.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Love it. Delicious.
Yeah, so our eyes not only influence what we think about food, but our eyes also influence how much food we eat, because we eat with our eyes, not with our stomach. So we set the study to say, well, what would happen if your plate never emptied? Would you just keep eating until you blew up? And so we developed this endless soup bowl, where when people would eat, the level in the soup bowl would slowly rise again. But after 20 minutes, when you ask them if they're full, they go, oh no, how could he be full? I mean, it's half full.
You don't mind if I look under the
Yeah, I know. Don't lift up your plate, please.
When you arm people with the results of one of your studies, but people have been eating, you know, every day for their whole lives, what is the likelihood that it's going to actually change their behavior?
But when we look at sort of the taste psychology of food, learning that giving something a nice name makes people like it a lot more than they otherwise would. Well, gee, as a host or hostess, that's a pretty darn easy thing to do. You can spend that last 5 minutes instead of trying to, make the meal better. You can actually just make the expectations better.
Right.
Make the little card better, right?
Make that card better, yeah.
Just look at today's plate. To be honest with you, pretty much everything is store-bought. The roasted chicken is just like a normal rotisserie chicken. And as with the mashed potato, actually just out of a box. It took me like 2 minutes to do it. In just a couple of minutes, you can make something really ordinary. It becomes very special.
It looks so beautiful. I mean, it was so special. When I
Thank you.
saw it.
So if I don't tell you it's store-bought rotisserie chicken, would you know?
I would not have known.
I would not.
We've done probably about 250 experiments over the last 20 years, and one thing that amazes me is that nobody believes these little cues in our environment influence them.
Oh, here comes the dessert. Oh.
They don't believe they're influenced by whether they're eating off a nice plate or not. They don't believe they're influenced by the label on a wine bottle. And that's what makes these things so powerful. That's also how you can use these to make people think you're a whole lot better cook than you actually are.
All right, I'll confess. I know the trick. It's supposed to be simple stuff, presented well, but I think it tastes good. I think it's wonderful. So maybe I'm just fooled by the presentation, but I think it genuinely tastes good. But I give the credit to Jennifer, though.